Good morning, everyone. May 31st, Sunday, May 31st. And, I don't know how else to start the daily financial news than just to acknowledge what appears to be transpiring across the country in many, many large cities. The downtown areas are being kind of locations for peaceful protests, near as I can tell, that then unfortunately morph into something bigger, which often involves looting and fires and all of that tragic stuff. I want to believe that in each and every area, the intent was peaceful protests. I want to believe that the masses were there to share their pain, their frustration, their dissatisfaction with what is going on in a peaceful manner. And unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there looking to create chaos and destruction. I find it amazing that many of the articles I read today want to blame the far left or the far right. This is not okay. Right? We are one country. We all need to feel safe first and foremost. One of the most painful things I read yesterday was there's an African American male. I'm going to go from memory here. I think he's in his 40s. I believe he's in Nashville. And in this, it was a Facebook post, at least that's where I saw it. He talked about he doesn't walk around his neighborhood by himself unless he has his 8-year-old daughter or his cute, white, fluffy dog. Because that either of those kind of humanize him, and he's afraid to walk by himself. That's a sad state of affairs. I, as a white male, can't fathom that. I couldn't imagine what that feels like, and that's not okay. So what is going on with the looting and the destruction is not good. Why burn down your own house? That doesn't help anything. In fact, it's like burning down your bedroom or your bathroom or anything of that nature. It might feel good in the moment, but you're left with a smoldering ash. And all I can say is I hope we, as all races, use this moment in time to unify. It's got to stop being a black or a white thing. And as a white male, I own just as much responsibility of trying to bring us together. This is not what I envisioned, and this is perhaps I've been blind. Again, maybe, certainly I've been blind to some of the suffering and what is going on. We need to come together, and we have an election coming up in November, and we have elections every November. We need to hold people accountable. We need to really organize and vote people in or out that serve the greater good. We need to stop having elections where only, pick a number, 20% of the people show up. If you're not happy, show up. If you're not happy, organize, show up in force. One of the things I was left with last night and I couldn't sleep, and it's very rare that I can't sleep because of what's going on. I was thinking about all the elections that I've seen and been a part of. Most of the elections are rather close, right? They're within, certainly sub 10%, right? The swing between who wins and who loses. If you can organize a block of voters that are really after the greater good, that's not based on skin color, on income, on any of that, but just based on being good people, we could fundamentally change the system. It'll take time. Absolutely. We will make the wrong decisions sometimes. Absolutely. But we need to hold each other accountable for being better, and we need to show the younger folks that we're in this together. That's it's not okay. So, anyways, sorry that I'm just I'm taken aback by what I see going on in the country. And again, as a white male, I have been blind or I don't know, ignorant or maybe not looking. So I want to apologize for that. We need to vote in good people and then hold them to make sure they stay good people. Um, that just needs to be the way we move forward. That's what our democracy is based on. That's what they envisioned way back when in 1776. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say there. But let's talk about the economic news. Man, try to transition out of that. That's pretty hard. So this is the week we're going to start to see some horrible economic news. It is going to be news that really shows the depth of the April contraction. Good news is May will be better than April, June better than May, July better than June. But we're going to see some pretty bad numbers. Monday, we're going to see ISM manufacturing. We're also going to see construction spending. Tuesday, we're going to see vehicle sales. That'll be interesting to watch. Wednesday is ADP employment. That is an interesting number. It sort of gives our first cut at what Friday's number will be. They were pretty close last month, so again, it's a good number to watch. We'll also get ISM non-manufacturing, right? We get manufacturing on Monday and then non-manufacturing, aka service, on Wednesday. Then Thursday is the weekly unemployment. It's been over 2 million for seemingly 8 weeks, I think. So let's hope we get under that number. And then the big number of the week, Friday, is the employment picture, which I think it was 14.7 last month. It will be likely all of 20% for the month of May. But again, my hope is these are kind of look back or historical numbers, and they are the worst on record, and we start to heal from here. So expect some pretty bad numbers. Be ready for it. Again, it'll be interesting to watch. Next up, did you see the SpaceX launch yesterday? Anybody actually watch it? Olivia watched like 3 hours of content kind of leading up to it. And it was a bright spot. I actually don't remember ever watching a space launch, but that was fun to see. Successful launch. The U.S. Has people back in space, are actually sending people back in space for the first time in I think 9 or 10 years. So that was pretty good. So it was nice to have some positive news, man. 2020 has been a terrible year. So that's cool. Next up is I would like to start seeing more and more stuff. The first pain. Let's talk about short-term rentals. I think that is very cool. I do expect short-term rentals to hit the market. I think that is an area that we're already seeing pain. I've heard from real estate agents across the country that they saw short-term rentals go long-term, meaning they went from daily to monthly. So that was the first thing. Many can't make that profitable. That's kind of like limping. I think it's kind of like buying time. I do expect short-term rentals to become the first thing to become forced sales. They're not as easy to get forbearance. They're often investment loans versus owner-occupant loans. So I do expect a wave of short-term rentals, and I think they're already hitting the market. What is interesting is I don't think the short-term rental business is dead forever. I think there is going to be some opportunity in the ashes. I actually saw a post the other day. I think it was from Jay Scott. He's a bigger pockets. He's an author of books. I've interviewed him on this channel. I've spoken with him many times. He put out a post that he's looking to buy short-term rentals at a price point. This is key. Pay attention. He's buying them at a price point where he could rent them long-term for probably a couple of years. And then ultimately they're in a location that will allow them to switch to short-term rentals when the economy gets back. I think that is a great idea by Jay Scott and something we could all kind of take advantage of. So yeah, I do think, and I will look at some short-term rentals that maybe I can buy, use as a yearly lease, and then maybe in 2023 or 24 convert it back to a short-term rental and then make the bigger spread. I do think that's going to be short-term pain. I will think there's some opportunities. I had a conversation with Anna Kelly on Thursday, I think it is, or Wednesday, Thursday. I don't remember what day it is. Wednesday, I think. So it is interesting to think she's buying a beach house, like a big old beach house, 6 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, or something. Yeah, I think there will be some stress in that space. Next up, mortgage applications are up 6 weeks in a row to buy homes. Now it's coming off a pretty low base, but 6 weeks in a row is a trend, right? It's not a one or 2 week blip. It's a trend. Mortgage rates average is 3.15%. I find it amazing that this has been up consistently 6 weeks in a row. An application does not mean approval, so let's remember that. And even an approved application does not mean a transaction, because maybe you can't find something that you like. But I think it goes to say that what we saw last week in the new housing, in the new housing or new inventory, is trend. It's a trend to follow. New construction below the median, best part of the market right now. Easiest to sell, easiest to show. People want it. I think that is a trend that is going to continue, and that's not a trend I would have picked 10 weeks ago. It's just all this data is really surprising. This crisis is like nothing before, so it's pretty interesting. 24-hour fitness looks like they might be preparing to file bankruptcy. I was actually surprised at how big they are. They have 430 locations. They have 1.3 billion in debt. Yeah, that's a lot of debt. So again, looking to possibly do that. They are looking for other options and the like. But I would tell you, with 1.3 billion in debt, restructuring or a bankruptcy filing may not be a bad idea. Did you guys see this article that the NBA, right? Again, the NBA, I think I reported yesterday, is looking to start up July 31st. But apparently they have a huge building in Manhattan, downtown. They're not paying rent, and their landlord is suing them for $1 million, like $1.3 million. So the NBA's position is, hey, it's closed. Why should we pay rent? But it's just, if restaurants are doing it, the NBA's doing it. You kind of get the whole rent strike thing when these big companies are doing that. Another thing, consumer spending. Again, kind of back to the whole, things are in just this different crisis for the consumers. April consumption was down 13.6 after being down 6.9% in March. So just in a couple of months, we are down 20% in consumption, which brings us back to 2014. And as an economy that is based on consumers, it is going to lead to a pretty significant Q2 GDP drop after a 5.6% drop in Q1 or whatever it was, GDP. We're certainly in a recession. And then lastly, I read an article from CNBC about a 35-year-old who retired after accumulating $1 million in savings. He had 6 points. I just thought I would share with him, try to put some good news out there after we've had a bad year. This has been a rough year. First and foremost, his point number 1 is make financial freedom your number 1 goal. I think that is interesting. Really, it goes back to, right, maintain lower expenses, increase income, save the rest, move forward, kind of what we talk about. That was interesting. He did talk about increasing active income. Yeah, I agree. 1 million is not enough to retire, but that's what the article said. Increase your active income. So he talked about being in high tech, but he also did some other things on the side hustles. So that was important. He said buy appreciating assets, stocks, and real estate investment houses. Again, it's probably how he's paying for his cash flow, is with investment houses. Automate your savings. Automate putting stuff in your 401k and other places. Number 5 is interesting. Know where your money is going. I don't think enough of us do that. If you know my 75-day hard challenge for real estate investors, I think it's number 2. It might be number 3. Track your expenses every day. It's really eye-opening. So I agree with that one. And then last one, most importantly to me, was detach from things. Basically live a simpler life. He talked about owning a fancy Corvette and Cadillac and blah, 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 and ultimately sold all of that stuff and lives a much simpler life. So again, if you're willing to live on less and you're willing to produce and buy assets over time, you can get to financial freedom. I like you. I think 35 is awful aggressive, but hey, if anybody can do it, it's proof positive that you can do it too. That's something I've always believed in. So at the end of the day, it's May 31st. I am going to do my goals here in a little bit, which summarizes the last 13 weeks. I'm going to be glad to flush that period down the drain. It's been tough. It's certainly been one of the toughest 13 weeks to go through. I'm going to try to put the next 13 weeks together. I'm going to work my butt off to make them all positive. I'm tired of this negativity. So I'm going to try to figure out what we can do on this. So it will be interesting. I will certainly get my goals done for today. I'm not sure I will put at my next 13-week goals. It might be tomorrow. I really want to think about what's going to make me feel better. I feel terrible for what I see going on, and I want to do more. I want to see if I can find out a way to do more. So at the end of the day, have fun, take care of yourself, be safe, stop burning down your own house if that's where you're at. And lastly, let's all get together and start holding people accountable that we want to elect and that we do elect and get them out. We need to coalesce around candidates that will take care of all of us, not just a subset of us. To see what's going on in these areas is very disheartening and not something I want to be a part of. We need to take care of all of us together, not just a subset. And that's a big lesson learned for me watching all of this happen. So take care of yourself. Bye.